Welcome to my channel, INTJ Island. Today I'm going to talk about the ENTP type, personality type. I'm just going to have a few thoughts that I've collected over the last few days. I've been visiting some ENTP sites made by ENTP creators, and it's been quite an education for me. One of the things that is striking to me about the ENTP's stack is it's exactly the same as an INTJ, except for everything's reversed, introverted, extroverted. So they lead with intuition and followed by thinking, feeling, and sensing. Exactly like an INTJ, except their intuition is extroverted, their thinking is introverted, their feeling is extroverted, and their sensing is introverted. With the functions being all the same in order, it does make for some interesting connections, points of connection. But at the same time, because the direction is the opposite in each one of these items, it can also make for quite a striking differences. So I find the ENTP personality type to be quite interesting. To start with the two letters on the ends, the E and the P, that's a huge difference as far as my approach to life is so much wrapped up in the fact I'm introverted and I'm a judger. I approach all my tasks as with a singular purpose. I want to get right to the end of it, and like a judger, it's completion is a big deal to me. That's my reward. When I reach completion, I'm happy. And then, of course, being introverted, I spend a lot of alone time. I don't play well with others. I don't like group activities. I don't like teams. As a general rule, I like to be able to do things myself. And if I get it done right, then I'm proud of myself. If others are proud as well, that's good. It's not that I give that no value, but my primary purpose is at the end of the day, is that I am happy that I have done a competent or superlative, if possible, job on whatever it is I'm trying to do. So that's my take on it. But the ENTP, as far as I can tell, is more interested in finding interesting ideas and seeing what it would take to put them together and reach completion, but not to actually do the job of reaching completion. To hand it off to a team member who could finish it off would be perfectly fine with an ENTP. Working with a team is fine. There's an independence to ENTPs is very much like INTJs, in that they want to think for themselves and come up with their own ideas. The extroverted intuition is something that I can relate to at a lower level. They lead with it. It's their driving number one cognitive function. I have it to a certain extent. Whenever I'm exposed to something new, my first knee-jerk reaction is to kick into an extroverted application of all these things. Now, whether it's extroverted thinking combined with introverted intuition, or whether it's actually extroverted intuition, I'm not sure, but it works the same pretty much. I see something like a piece of new technology, a new idea, and I see how it could be applied a dozen different ways. I'm I have a friend in Indiana who a lot of times will send something to me, a link to some new thing, a new device or a new concept in physics or whatever, just to get my take on it, because he knows I'll usually respond with something different than anyone else would. I always come at things from different angles and see the potential in things that a lot of people wouldn't. And so he always gets a bit of a kick out of seeing what my response is going to be to new things that pop up. But after I've gone through that initial frenzy of finding possibilities, I fall back into my introverted intuition and piece things together in a pattern that makes sense to my general outlook of some aspect of the universe. So I want to fit it in to what's already there as well. And in fact, ultimately, that's my primary thing. I have fun looking at possibilities, but I live with the fitting it together with the universe and my concept of the universe. The external thinking, extroverted thinking that an INTJ has does lead towards working out the steps to completion of some task. It could be minor or major, but or seeing the way things are in a system or organization and seeing where it could be better or finding a way around. A lot of my life, my work life, I found faster, easier ways of doing things than what was the normal way of doing things, the way that it had been done before. I was always looking for more effective approaches so I could reach my goal quicker. And that's that extroverted thinking kicking in. I do fully understand the introverted thinking in certain areas, like when I'm troubleshooting electronics, that kicks in. My internal picture of what is the machine is supposed to do, and all the functional parts, what each module is doing, and if something's missing, I can normally quickly locate the faulty module, and then if necessary go down to the faulty component by working through that. But it's not that was an acquired skill, something I studied years to do and put lots of years of practice in doing it. And I wouldn't be surprised if my intuition wasn't somehow hooked into my extroverted thinking and somehow supplementing that. But in any case, I do understand how that side of thinking can be a very powerful tool for the ENTP. Something that I found on the ENTP sites is the content creators have one similarity with me, is they tend to give extensive answers. I'll write extensive comments. I tend to write long comments and cover a lot of ideas. In fact, I may watch a video, especially if it's a long video, and go through it point by point and make a comment on each major point. Some content providers will just, give you a thanks or something like that, and that's all you get back. But I found on the ENTP sites that I get an actual response that's at the same length as what my original comment was, and thought out as deeply as my comment was, which I admire that in the ENTP. One comment that one of the sites of Francesca Costa, she's pointed out that one area of difference between our two types is the memory, the way we use memory. Now, for her, she said the past tends to evaporate quickly because she's constantly looking forward to the potential of the future and the present and the future. And so the past tends to disappear as she's focused on the present and the future. And that is a huge difference. But it is something she has in common with my wife. My wife, ESTP, has a lot of trouble remembering the past. It's, in fact, she's constantly making comments about how my memory is amazing and how I'll remember a line from a movie I saw 10 years ago. And she said, "How do you remember that?" Well, yeah, it's just the way I am. My introverted intuition needs facts and data to work, and so I must have that available. And if I don't have it, if it just evaporates and goes away, then I can't use my intuition to best effect. So I have a tendency to hold on to facts. Anything that's at least bit useful, I tend to hold on to it, and I can usually pull it up if I need to. A lot of times it's kind of sitting in the back burner. I don't realize it's even there until something will trigger it and say, "Oh, yeah, I need, this is the answer to that," because I remember it. But this always surprises my wife, and it sounds like at least this one ENTP has the same situation. The perceiver side of things is, I think would be a natural thing for an extroverted intuitive, because a perceiver is always looking at what's going on, the immediate circumstances, and that there may be a dozen different tasks that need to be done, and rather than focusing on just one to reach completion, a perceiver will tend to do something on any one of the tasks, or maybe all of the tasks, if it seems efficient to move each one along until they're all done. Whereas for me, I ignore everything else and get one done, then I move to another one, and then I ignore everything else and get that one done. And so I kind of do it. I even eat my food that way. My wife likes to mix her stuff up on her plate and eat it, and I eat one thing and then I move on to the next thing. I'm a judger even in how I eat. So anyway. So that's another interesting difference. But the ENTP is really good at coming up with ideas for like an entrepreneurship. If you have if you're creating something, that ability to see the different possibilities is great for conceiving of an idea, and the fact they'll stay with it to the point of understanding it fully enough to where they could hand it off to someone else to actually finish it. That makes a good personality type to run a company that's producing creative material. So it's another strength. So anyway, there's no way I can cover everything about an ENTP in one video, but I've just found a few interesting things there, and I thought I'd share that with you. And if you liked the video, click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'll see you next time.